One. Hello and good morning. This morning we're going to examine exactly what it takes to do a cross country in a microlight, and I'm going to describe exactly what I'm doing as we fly, everything I do. At the moment we're just warming up the engine and just getting ready to go. Done the pre-flight walk around. Got some weather concerns this morning, but it's kind of like a bit vague as to what's exactly going on. So we thought we'd go and have a look, and if it's no good, we'll abandon the flight. We'll come back. We can at the moment. We've got room to do that.
Red line monitor. Go. Quality. Go. Voice down. Go. Go lay safety officer. Go. Go. LC, you have permission to launch. 1.
So first thing we have to do as well is make a flight plan. It is cross country after all. So what we need to do is a line on my chart basically to Bundaberg today. Alright, that's done. It was easy, eh? And so I know I've got enough fuel. Radio's now on. Oh, we have a pre-flight to do. So we've got twin fisher, throttle, that back, switches. Not there yet. Make sure they're cocked. One thing at a time. So we've got twin fisher, so it's throttle. Throttle's good. We've tested that. We know that one's working. Got to hold it at 2,000 RPM as the engine warms up. We've got wind wires. Wing is good. Everything's looking good. We've got weather. Well, we've checked weather. We think it's okay. We've got wind we've looked at. We're going to use 3.5 this morning, departing straight out for Bundaberg to the, well, hearing is 2.6 magnetic. Mixtures, pins, mixtures are off. Pins are in.
Safety first.
Fuel, we have 52 litres, so we're good for 3 hours. 3:15 to 45, and we've got instruments set. Set this one. Okay. Security, harness and helmet, radio. Light on, trim up a little bit. Go. Traffic Maryborough, Microlight 6340 taxis hangars to taxiway Alpha. Maryborough traffic.
Maryborough traffic, 26 Charlie Delta Way from off to run. We'll position you on crosswind runway 17 Maryborough.
Aircraft inbound Maryborough, Microlight 6340, was that 16 miles to run?
Negative, we're just joining crosswind now for runway 17 Charlie Delta.
Right, I'll let you go first then, thank you. Okay, so first thing we've just done is a radio call because there's an aircraft inbound. He's crosswind somewhere. And we're almost warm, but we'll just let him do his landing. Where?
Mirror traffic, 2 Kilo Delta, turning downwind runway 17, Mirror.
He wasn't even crosswind. He's just joining now. Mirror traffic, Microlight 6340 enters and lines up, rolls, and I'll be straight out departure runway. Oh, you'll be going, sorry, you're going 17. Aircraft in the circuit, you're doing 17, are you?
Runway 17.
Roger that, I'll wait. Sorry about that.
And Mirror traffic, 2 Kilo Delta, turning base, runway 17, full stop.
Right, I've just got to remember to tell you what we're doing. So obviously we're waiting for this aircraft to land at the moment. We've done the radio call just to confirm which runway he's using. I actually think he made his radio call before he was in crosswind. I saw him come across and I had heaps of time to get out, but oh well, what do you do? And because he's using a runway opposite direction to which way I'm departing, I really just have to really wait. Alright, while we're waiting though too, I'll just set the radio so that we're on the multi-com frequency 126.7 and we'll monitor that. Then we'll be able to hear if there's any traffic further north. Oh up.
Mirror traffic, 2 Kilo Delta, clear on runway, Mirror.
Mirror traffic and aircraft exiting runway. Microlight 6340 enters, lines up, rolls. Intersection departure, taxiway Alpha, straight out 35, tracking Bundaberg. Mirror traffic. Alright, nearly got choked up. Right, good to go. Traffic Maryborough, Microlight 6340 is airborne 35, climbing through 500 for 2,500. That's 2,500. Tracking north for Bundaberg. Maryborough traffic. Alright, radio calls are complete. We are now going to set a heading. Our heading is going to be, as I said before, it should be 26. Well, no, I don't know why. Oh, bearing 2319 is the correct bearing we need this morning. And we're always watching for aircraft. We're on climb through 1,200. Air feels very nice. The clouds don't look like they're going to be a factor after all. There is something offshore, but I think it's actually not a factor. And we're on track now, so we're good. Turning the landing light off just so, because we don't need it now. We're at 1,500. Radio set correctly still. Oil pressures are now 3.4 bar, 4 bar, and 74 degrees oil temperature. And EGTs and CHTs are looking good. And spec. So we always got to check temperatures and pressures and make sure that there's that everything's performing as it should be. We're at 1,800. We're on climb at 600 feet per minute. Always looking for aircraft in this phase of the flight especially. And I'm looking for a landmark now to track towards. And I can see the edge of a green patch. There's a little green spot and there's an edge of a green patch. So if I keep that to my east, to my right, I will, I'll track that way at the moment. And then once we get there, we can find another landmark to reference as the tracking direction. Righty, I can now check my iPad, make sure there's no other traffic on the ADSB. None identified, nothing actually. Oh, there's one in Harvey Bay just departing out of there. We're at 2,300, we can start backing off the power and assume a 2,500 cruise at about 80 knots this morning. We're at 2,500. That is actually feet above sea level. Always monitoring our heading, what our correct bearing should be, or what our bearing is. Our bearing is 318, and we must maintain 318. And that this system also takes into account wind drift as well, so if there's any crosswindy stuff going on, it still gives me the correct heading adjusted for wind. Now I'm flying a Microlight, yeah, but when it comes to cross country, it's all pretty much the same as if you were flying any sort of aircraft. We don't fly in controlled airspace though, so I don't have to worry about contacting the tower. But we do have to keep our eyes out for other aircraft, and we do, if we see something that's not right, we can call them up and say, just ask them what they'd like to do, or what we would be best doing in terms of avoiding a altercation. So pretty much at the moment all we've got to do is sit back and enjoy the ride. Our flight time this morning is about 35 minutes. We are currently doing 74 ground, 80 knots airspeed, so we've got a 5 knot headwind at this altitude. I say at this altitude because...
Bravo, taxiing runway 29, departure. To the west, 12 Underberg, 2,500, traffic, Harvey Bay.
He's coming out of Harvey Bay, so now I'm going to watch for him on the iPad, and then any conflict there, because he's going to overtake me. He'll be doing 150, I guess, knots. I'm doing 80, and so I'll make sure he's not going to be a factor there, and just basically stay out of his way. I'm not crossing his path. He'll overtake me before we get to Bundaberg, so therefore our tracks will converge, but he will overtake me before we need to be considered a factor. A little bit of water haze around, water vapor, a little bit hazy this morning. It is still, today's date actually is the 19th of February 2025. So the days are still rather warm. It is still summer. It is still summer here, but the weather hasn't settled down yet. Today is one of the better days. There are potentially showers, so that's another factor with cross country. We do potentially have showers at some time today. But from experience, I know that that isn't necessarily going to be the case. And if it is, they're mostly avoidable. The best way to avoid showers, if there are showers, is not to fly, not to come back. And make sure that's an option for you if you go somewhere. You don't have to come back. You can leave the next day. Providing the weather finds up again, of course. So we're just coming towards, there's a new train facility. I think they're going to be building trains and maintaining trains for Queensland Rail down here on the left. I want to maintain a heading of 318. My waypoint, my landmarks are in front of me, and everything, the headings are still correct, so we've done well there. Normally I can sit back, relax and just cruise, but this morning we're making a video for you to see what we have to do, and that makes me think a bit more, doesn't it? Oh, another thing I've done just last week actually, I didn't want to show you the video and drag you through the rigmarole, but if you want to see some details, I've just fitted new brakes.
Over 1 rolling runway 29, departure to the west, 4 Bundaberg, 2,500 traffic, copy that.
I've just fitted new brakes. That would include the pads, the brake pads. It's a hydraulic brake system on the rear mains. And also new disc rotors. The rotors looked okay, but the problem I was having was the brakes weren't really working effectively. And as a result, I just thought something's got to be wrong here. So I decided that they're going to need replacing at some stage down the track. Let's just do it now and see if it cures the problem. Now, they also could take a little bit of time to bed in, and I'm yet to see if it's going to be any better. This is the first flight since I put the brakes in. System, by the way, the system is a Black Max from America, Black Max brakes, and you can look that up on the internet, online. And they're meant to be very good brakes. So I've been flying with them now, this aircraft, for this year will be 7 years in July. So our cloud, as you can see on the other camera, on the wing camera, is to our port side, so more to the east of Bundaberg from what I can tell. On the radar I've got on my screen, I can see there is showers out, but they're over the water, and I actually think I can see them from here, but not a factor. They're a good 10 miles from Bundaberg, and the cloud is not directly in front of me. So at the moment we look like we've got clear skies, and I've made a good decision with the weather. Sometime, well, the flight today would have been a case of if we don't go and it's good weather, we missed out. If we do go and it's bad weather, I mean showers, because it was so uncertain as to all the forecasts, there was no real decent information to tell us exactly. The forecast is for showers. So it's a case of if it is bad or it's showery and you shouldn't fly, well, if it was no good now, I'd just have to turn back. And I can, because I know it's clear to go back. But another reason for doing this type of flight when you're uncertain about weather is to get some experience. What does it look like? What is it doing really, and how does it compare with the forecasts? Because if the forecasts tell you one thing and the weather's different, or the forecasts tell you something and the weather's kind of like what the forecast said, then you can see what it meant in the forecast, I suppose. So there's always that sort of planning and decision making. And talking about decision making, the whole flight, when you're doing this, when you're doing cross countries, any kind of flying.
Taxing runway 35 for departure to Bundaberg to the northwest, traffic Crayonbox.
That's Dave, he's about to depart, he's coming up to Bundaberg as well. We go up there for morning tea and lunch. If we decide to stay for lunch today. Don't know what I was saying, but anyway, decision making. We have to now decide when we get there. We'll have a coffee, morning tea. Do we decide to stay? We look at the weather, we monitor what's happening, and we decide if the conditions are going to be no good later, we need to leave earlier, or we take the risk of getting stuck. And we don't want to play that game called get home-itis. You haven't heard of that before. It just means you're in a rush to get home regardless of what the weather's doing, and that is dangerous. You will find yourself in situations that you won't get out of, and that's the day that you'll have your accident. So don't play that game. There's also another thing in aviation called the Swiss cheese. When the holes in the Swiss cheese, multiple layers of Swiss cheese, when they line up, that's when you go right through to the accident. Swiss cheese, there's another part to that. The Swiss cheese idea is that the holes don't normally line up, and there's normally a layer that will block the potential for an accident. But you've got to make sure you learn when to stop progressing through the Swiss cheese. So at the moment I can see the cloud there. I'm on track. There's minimal cloud in front of me. It's not a factor. The Swiss cheese is fine as far as cloud's concerned. There's an aeroplane, the other Swiss cheese. He's on a convergent course with me now. He's level with me out over the water. He is a good 8 miles away. We are converging, but he, as I said, will overtake me before I get much further. So therefore, that Swiss cheese layer is safe. I'm just switching to the multicom frequency now because I'm over Pacific Haven. I've been monitoring it. Traffic in the Pacific Haven area, Microlight 6340 is overhead the field. 2,900 tracking northwest for Bundaberg, Pacific Haven area traffic. I do need to go down a bit. I didn't intend to be this high. And our friend on the coast is just overtaking us. I can't see him. It's like looking for a car 8 miles away. You might get lucky, but I doubt it. I don't see any movement on the ground at Pacific Haven, so that's all good. Again, we're still monitoring for aircraft, just watching out, listening to the radio, looking at the EFIS, the iPad and the navigation on there, which shows me the ADS-B traffic. And all of those things are clear. No radio and no ADS-B factors. Except for my friend in the Tango Lima Bravo on the coast. Now what we can also do while we're flying along is have a look. We know what the runways are in Bundaberg. It shows us now on the screen. But what is the wind doing right now? Let's pull up that on the screen. Let's have a look at the wind. And let's decide. It's saying it's 11 knots 050. That's forecasted. Currently the report is 6 knots 150. So that's more or less a southeasterly wind. So that helps us decide which runway we want to plan to land on. And we can also do it on here a different way. If I can hit the button. Up here, on the top corner, there's a windsock showing against the runway, and that's also indicating the same sort of thing. So we have a southeasterly kind of wind, and it looks like runway 14 is our preferred. Wind's more or less straight down the runway, and it's only 6 knots on the ground at this time. Only indicating a 5-knot headwind here at this stage too. Right, well, how's our fuel and engine going? We've got 86 degree oil temp, oil pressure's 4 bar, we're burning 5 litres, 5.7 litres per hour, 4,600 RPM, and indicating 80 knots. True airspeed 83 knots at 2,700 at the moment. Our ETA to the field we also have to plan is 8:21 local or 22:21 Zulu. That means I'll be 40 minutes early, but I'd rather be early and safe on the ground. I wanted to make sure that the rain wasn't going to be a factor, the showers. This gives me a bit more time for planning and decision making and diversion if required. No, it's all good. Tango Lima Bravo is well ahead of me now in front of me, so that's all good. And we want to maintain 318 degrees. 318 degrees heading. We are now halfway, and we can now switch our radio over to Bundaberg frequency 126.90. Alright, we'll stay on the multicom, but we'll monitor Bundaberg. We have about, what have we got exactly? Just under 20 miles to go. Alright, next waypoint, VFR landmark. There's a dam there and looks like a building, a white structure of some sort. We'll head towards those, and that confirms on my headings. Okay. I don't see Dave in the air at the moment for some reason. No Oz runways and no what's it called, ADSB out from a Sky Echo, so that's interesting. Alright, still watching for traffic.
Tango Foxtrot Bravo is inbound from the east currently. 11 miles, ascent through 2,400, transfer 3 mile final, straight in 32, estimating that position. 07, Bundaberg.
Alright, Tango Foxtrot Bravo is 10 miles. He's doing straight in. He's going straight in on runway 32. That's okay. He's got 6 knot tailwind. I'll prefer to do it the right way. Typically, if you're landing in the correct direction for the wind, you'll actually be flowing in the correct circuit direction for the traffic, if there is any in the circuit. You don't want to be contrary to the traffic in circuit. That's a bad day, and that gets rather awkward rather fast. I can put it that way. 2,500, and we have 17 miles to go. Hope you're enjoying the trip. If you do, please like and subscribe to the video. Tell me what you'd like to see in the comments in future videos. I have a couple of things coming up actually. We have got, this is one idea. We've also got, I've got a video in process at the moment, which is flying to a mystery location to have a look at a tourist landmark that I've never seen from the air before. I actually filmed that one last year, but anyway, it's still relevant, doesn't change. So that'll be an interesting video for us, a bit more cross country there. And what else are we doing? I want to check and test what the takeoff roll distance and time, if you want, is on grass. Whether it'll be wet, long grass, or just short, freshly mowed, dry grass, I don't know. Whatever it is, but versus bitumen. So I've got to make sure the wind is somewhere between the two runways so that we get the average wind. And we'll compare the takeoff roll for those two things. There was something else I wanted to do too. Oh, yes. Now that I've fitted, as you might have seen in a previous video, I fitted a fuel litres per hour sensor and connected it to the EFIS. So now I can see we're burning 16 litres per hour. I want to see at my lowest speed, well, say 4,200, 4,300 RPM, at 100 RPM increments up to maximum RPM, how the fuel burn changes, and then calculate what my theoretical flight duration, endurance, or distance with no wind would be, depending on RPM. Is there a more efficient RPM to fly at in this aircraft? It differs for different aircraft, and that's another video that I'm going to be working on. If you guys want to make similar videos and compare them to what I've got, please do so. Go ahead. It will be very interesting, and it won't matter what aircraft you're flying. It'll just be interesting to find out what your aircraft, with your configuration, with your engine, in your area, with density, altitude, temperatures and so forth, how that will perform. And we can all compare notes then, and hopefully we'll all learn something from it. We're 13 miles remaining, and I'm watching for traffic. Over to the right now, you can see that cloud that I was concerned about. It's still off the coast. The showers underneath it are still approximately 10 miles from the runway. So far not a factor. It's what happens later on today that could become a factor. Another way of planning as well, if I just try and bring it up on here, you'll see on the Maryborough screen, that wasn't it, tap, let's try again. You'll see that we've got cameras, and we can look at the runway, we can look at the airport, we can look at the sky conditions, we can see what it's doing. We did that for Bundaberg this morning. We don't close this one, close. Click on the Bundaberg, and that's what we got, nothing. So that wasn't helpful at all. Normally it's working, today it's not for some reason. Another way I could have got that screen, if we look at, let's say we look at Harvey Bay, we could have gone, what did I do? So, I could have found another airport by scrolling down and just clicking on a Bundaberg there. And I could have got it that way and then gone into the weather, NOTAMs or whatever. Anyway, let's get focused now. We're coming into the airfield. I know I'm drifting off course.
Forward, she'll probably do that. Thank you.
I can see the runway. I'm actually too close to the finals. Axis will get to the right. We'll go east of the field. We are still tracking, we're now tracking 320. But I can see the runway. So what I'm actually going to do is join downwind, do a base and land on 1-4 from the other direction. So we'll be doing a 180 to land. Camera's rolling, everything's good, 2,500 feet. Let's switch over to there. We'll keep monitoring multicom, but we're now on Bundaberg frequency. We are 10 miles to go. Okay, we're at 2,500 and our estimated time of arrival is 2-1. Traffic Bundaberg, Microlight 6340 is 10 miles to the southeast, 2,500. Tracking inbound to join downwind, runway 14. Time circuit 2-1, Bundaberg traffic. Right, lucky I got that right for you guys, so you can't criticise what I said. Best way to get a radio call right actually is to plan what you're going to say before you push the button. Get all the details, work out what you're doing, and then push the button. And just to say too, I'm not an instructor. I do have 800 hours of experience in this type of aircraft, but it doesn't make me a know-it-all.
Southeast, on 3,500, inbound to full stop. Estimating circuit area, time 17 meter.
He's closer than me, he'll be there sooner than me, so he's not a factor. But I'll keep an eye out for him. Sounds like a Sea Ray actually, he said. Yeah, so all I can do is share my knowledge and hopefully you can get something from it. And if it's good knowledge and you can use it, good. If it's not, don't. Just find out for yourself. Find a proper instructor. Alright, we're in the critical phase of our arrival because statistically speaking, apparently, most accidents occur within 5 miles of an aerodrome because all the aircraft are converging. And because we're all responsible for ourselves and each other, that's a departure to, he's going to Childers from what I understand. I will probably stop talking shortly and focus on what I'm doing. We've got 7 miles to go. I'll make another radio call in 3 miles. That's the stipulated requirement. but it's not mandatory.
2 wide traffic, helicopter Echo Yankee India, Robinson R22 is on the eastern side of Lake Wybar at 1,500, tracking northwest for Talara Forest.
Alright, I'm turning off multicom because we don't need to hear anything outside what we call the CTAF. We are now well within 10 miles of Bundaberg. I can see the runway very clearly. I need to get to the right of the centre line because we are going to join direct and downwind. And we do have an aircraft departing straight out towards me. Not that I'll see him at the moment. Alright, we'll check the cameras are rolling. We are. We are checking the ADS-B. I have something taking off there. I can see him on ADS-B.
Traffic February 4398, we're turning right off runway 14. We'll be tracking 170 for Chillers. For about 1,500 feet on the book.
He's making a left-hand departure, and yeah, that's good. Another risk mitigation that I've got up my sleeve right now, as well as I'm at 2,500 feet, and the circuit altitude is 1,500 maximum. So I need to be coming in at a minimum of 2,000 feet. So yeah, we're safe and well and truly good there. I can now see the aircraft departing out to Childers, and I can see them on ADS-B as a confirmation. They do have another aircraft fired up at Bundaberg. I thought that Sea Ray was landing at 1-4, but it's, what's the time now? 1-7, so I don't know what happened there. A little bit of active air. I'm going to put the landing light on now, and that just helps the aircraft see me, especially if they're coming straight out towards me. And we're 3.5 miles, so traffic Bundaberg, Microlight 6340 is long downwind, runway 14, 2,500, we're on descent for a long downwind and full stop Bundaberg traffic. So we'll pull the power off, start our descent, make sure there's no aircraft that are a factor. Got some turbulence going on, it's just light, thermal, heated ground. There's a lot of crops here you might see. We're on the right frequencies, aren't we? Yep, we got good. Everything's ready to go. We've got the aircraft out there. We've got something approaching it, entering a runway by the looks. Traffic Bundaberg, Microlight 6340 is downwind, runway 14, full stop, Bundaberg traffic. Just checking for traffic on the right because there's a runway centre line I'm crossing now. And we're also checking the windsocks, we're at 1,000 feet. Got an aircraft entering, ready to roll, I hope. I'm not hearing radio calls. We're slowing the aircraft down now with the trim. That makes it easier for me to land. We're in the circuit, so we're watching for traffic. Now we can make our base. Traffic Bundaberg, Microlight 6340 turns base 14 Bundaberg traffic. Traffic Bundaberg, Microlight 6340, short final 14, full stop, Bundaberg traffic. Alright, that's pretty much everything we have to do except now land the plane. The flight's not over until we turn off the engine. bumpy, a little bit thermal. How are the brakes actually? I'll need to test them, won't I? I'll let them run off. They're okay. Start bedding them in, just a little bit of braking and see. Get some wear on them just to make them work better. They might actually feel a bit better. Good. Alright, that's our landing. We're on the center line, that's pretty good. Traffic, Bundaberg, Microlight 6340 is clear of runways, Bundaberg traffic. And the landing light off. Don't need that now. Tango Foxtrot Bravo's over there loading passengers. Look at that, so far no showers to worry about, no clouds to worry about. We'll see what happens this afternoon as the morning progresses. Alright, thanks for watching that video. That's the end of this video. I'll just shut down and show you what I've got to do that. And we'll see you in another video. Keep an eye out for those new ones coming out. I look forward to seeing yours. Bye for now. Let me just shut down. So first of all, strobe lights off, radio off, engine off, and oh yeah, I didn't mention as well, we have a Sky Echo, which is an ADS-B in out, and that helps us see the other aircraft around, and we'll turn that off. And we turn the key off. See you later.